So today I wanted to talk about white leftists. White leftists are one of the biggest obstacles in leftism for black people and non-black people of color in specific. And today I wanted to talk about why. So I have a few points and I wanted to speak on those today. Firstly, for black people and non-black people of color who are leftists, we are so used to being invalidated because of the white gaze. The white gaze, what does that mean? That means we are so used to seeing our own issues as less valid or less valuable or less important because they are not seen as important in our current system, right? Because the chosen consumer is the white person, right? And it would go to follow that we would sort of behave in that same way. And white leftists do behave in that way. They behave in that way where it's easier for them to just not care. I'll expound on that in a little bit. Another issue for black leftists and non-black people who are leftists, non-black people of color who are leftists in specific, another issue is distrust. We don't trust y'all. We don't trust y'all, and there's a good reason that we don't trust y'all. It's because historically, white people for black people and non-black people of color have always been the enemy. It's not even a matter of us being hyperbolic about this. This has been historically proven. This can be statistically proven, even in modern times. Like, white people have always been the enemy for us, right? So there is an element of distrust there. We don't trust y'all. And I honestly don't think that that's invalid. Like, I mean, if you spend all of your time as a white person trying to get one over, quote unquote, on a black person or a non-black person of color as opposed to listening to their points, why the fuck should we trust you? Why should we? Why should we trust you? Why should we care about you wanting to affect actual revolution? Because I mean, clearly if you're ignoring us, you don't know what the hell revolution means. Revolution means inclusivity, right? Like, it means that you're representing the working class, and the working class includes us. We're here. Like, we're not some deep dark secret for you to hide away and not acknowledge. Like, that's not how it works. Another issue that I have come across, which incidentally ties into the entire distrust angle, is that white people, frankly, ain't got skin in this game. They don't. It's not even a matter of skin color at this point. White people, white leftists, have nothing to gain by standing with us. They have nothing to gain by standing with black people and non-black people of color. They have nothing to gain by that because they are the golden child of capitalism. Like, no, I'm not saying your life is easier. I'm not saying your life is better. I am saying that you will not have to contend with as much bullshit as we will have to because we are black people and non-black people of color. Right? Like, so it would go to follow that there's nothing to gain for you in standing with us. And we're so used to being invalidated and so used to being ignored that we expect y'all to do exactly that. And it is so rare that we are proven wrong at this point that it's damn near factual. It honestly is. It's damn near factual. Like, it's so rare that black people and non-black people of color are proven wrong about white people, that we're just tired. Like you have nothing to gain by standing with us, and you know it, and you prove that every single day. It doesn't benefit y'all to stand with us. It doesn't benefit y'all. And I mean, frankly, if white people, for white leftists specifically, if y'all wanted to drop your red and black flags and forget that all of a sudden you support trans people, or ignore that you wanted to highlight class consciousness and whatever, like, I mean, if you decided that you wanted to be done with this entire idea of a leftist revolution, you would lose nothing. You would lose nothing. You would lose nothing by deciding that you don't want to be a part of this anymore. I mean, but for black people and non-black people of color, we have everything to lose. Our lives included. We have everything to lose. We have everything to lose. We see on a daily basis our people being slaughtered en masse by a police state. We see every day our people being shoved into concentration camps. We see every day our people being bombed back to the fucking Stone Age because of imperialism and colonialism. We see this constantly, but white people do not have that baggage. So they have nothing to lose by deciding that they're no longer interested in being counterculture, which is a problem. It's a problem. Because if you want to be an ally, you're supposed to have that empathy. And a lot of white people just don't. They just don't. Another point I wanted to mention, which is something that I mentioned in my last video, incidentally, is white tears. What is white tears? I said this before. White tears are a weapon. That's what they are. It's a weapon. And it's not even just specifically for white women. It's not even just specifically for white non-men. White tears are a weapon for people who recognize that their personal emotional turmoil is enough to sway the state. Right? Like, it's enough to sway the state. Like, okay, if you want to pull a Geiger and you want to gun somebody down in cold blood, if you are white and your victim is not, then you can get away with murder. Literally, you can get away with murder. This is not even hyperbolic at this point. Literally, y'all can get away with murder. Y'all can get away with killing us. And all you have to do is cry a little. And because of that, you operate in that fashion. You see your fragility as an actual talking point, and it's not. I don't give a fuck about your ego. Okay, like, I don't care about your ego. I'm not interested in that. That does not serve me. That does not help me. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone to be like, oh, well, I'm sad and I'm really heartbroken over this. And like, dude, if you're not enacting actual change, then why the fuck should I care? Honestly. Like, yeah, okay, sad for you. You're sad and you're sad about this and how terrible. But like, you're not the one who's being directly affected by your own actions. That's not you. That is us who has to contend with that. Us, as in black people and non-black people of color. People of color as a whole spend their entire goddamn life navigating white fucking fragility. You can't deal with critical thinking about your worldview. You can't deal with someone poking holes in your fallible ass logic And so that's now everybody else's fucking problem. And if you're coming into a space where you're supposed to be a revolutionary, that is not helpful. That's not helpful. It's not helpful. It does nothing. All it does is it impedes progress, not just for the movement, but for you as well. You yourself choose to not grow because you are so scared of being seen as wrong. And why? Like, why? What the hell do you gain by being right all the time? If you are incorrect, you are incorrect. Simple the fuck as. And honestly, all this ties into it's emotional manipulation. That's what it is. It's abuse. It is abuse. The bullshit that white people pull with non-black people of color and black people is abusive. It's abusive. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. If I had to contend with a partner who treated me the way white leftists treat everybody the fuck else, ain't no way in hell I would deal with that relationship. Ain't no way in hell. Because it hinges on, oh, well, this person felt a way about this, and so you just have to deal with their shitty behavior. No, the fuck I don't. No, the fuck I don't. I don't. It's emotional manipulation. You do not get to use your personal mental illness. You do not get to use your personal traumatic experiences. You do not get to use your personal emotional turmoil as a trump card for the people that you are supposed to be working with. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. If you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have schizophrenia, if you have ADHD, if you're cluster B or cluster A or whatever the fuck else, you do not get to use that as an excuse for you being a regressive piece of shit. You don't get to use that. That's not a trump card for you. It's a personal issue that I honestly hope you get help with, but it's not my fucking problem. And frankly, I can't even blame white people for acting like this. Because for the past few centuries, they have been told that their pain is way more significant than ours. So they think that because, oh, well, I'm sad, everybody needs to cater to me. And no. And let me be very clear. This is not to say that your personal emotional pain or your mental illness or anything like that, if you are white, this is not to say that that's invalid, because it is valid. It's very valid. And there's nothing wrong with you speaking to that truth. There's nothing wrong with you speaking truth to that power. There's nothing wrong with you saying, "Hey, I'm not okay." There's nothing wrong with that. There, however, is something very fucking wrong with you acting as though your personal pain matters more than everyone else's. Your mental illness is not a trump card. This is not Uno. Like, what the fuck? Like, this, it's not a wild card you can use to Uno out of life. Because you're not the only person who's dealing with this. I'm black. I'm trans, I'm queer, I have mental illness, multiple mental illnesses, and I walk through this world every day with a level of empathy for people who are like me and for people who are not. And I have no choice but to see things in that greater framework because I am not the center of the fucking universe. My pain is not more important than someone else's. It just exists. And white people ain't got there yet. They have not realized, y'all, white people, y'all have not realized that your pain is not the end all be all of all pain in the world. So if a black person or a non-black person of color says, hey, what you're doing is triggering, what you're saying is triggering, your gaslighting is fucking triggering. You can't treat people like this, and you fall on your laurels and you cry and you bitch and you moan about how you're being attacked and you just don't understand why we can't all be friends. This is why. This is why we can't all be friends. This is why. You're not helping. You're not helping by acting as though your pain is more important than someone else's. You want somebody to give a fuck about your pain? Give a fuck about somebody else's. You're not the only person on this planet. You're not that important, dude. Nobody is that important. Nobody is. Everybody is hurting. Everybody is in pain. You ain't the only motherfucker on this planet with mental illness, bruh. You're not the only motherfucker on this planet who wants to die. You're not the only motherfucker on this planet who can't eat. You're not the only motherfucker on this planet who deal with anxiety, who deal with mania, who deal with ADHD, who deal with schizophrenia, who deal with whatever, BPD, whatever, bruh. You're not the only person. You're not the only one, dog. And for you to act as though everybody in the world needs to stop so that you personally can feel validated in your pain is the most arrogant bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Cause don't shit stop when I'm in pain. Don't shit stop when I'm hurting. Don't shit stop. Nothing stops. The world continues to spin and nobody gives a shit, bruh. Nobody does. I grieve alone in silence. Because I ain't got no other choice. And this is not me being stronger or me being more tough or whatever the hell else sort of synonym you want to attribute to it, but you don't get to use that as a way to shut people up because it doesn't work. White people are not the only people who deal with mental illness. Not even close. And for you to try and use your mental illness as emotional leverage is disgusting. It is disgusting behavior. It is so selfish and so self-centered, which is why I think that for white people, for white leftists, when you are coming into leftist spaces, you need to exercise humility. Humility, not as in you need to constantly self-deprecate and constantly make yourself feel like shit because whatever, you don't feel as though you're as good as everybody else. Like, no, that's not where I'm coming from. I'm saying humility as in you are not the most important motherfucker in the room, bruh. Because you ain't. You ain't never gonna be. This is not to discredit your struggles. This is not to discredit your life. It is to say that you are not the only person who has had to contend with this in life, and to recognize that even if your life hasn't been all peaches and roses, you're supposed to be trying to enact solidarity with everybody else because that's the only way this is going to work. You want solidarity, it starts with you. It starts with you. Not even just you. It starts with me too. It starts with all of us. This is not an individualist project. Everybody rally to this cause. Like, no, this is not you personally. I have said this before in videos and I will say it again. You personally are not going to be the face of this movement. You are not going to be the one who saves the world. You're not. I'm not either. I don't fucking want to be. Because this is not about me. This is about us as a collective. This is the time. Now is the time to stop treating everything as such an individualist project. There is no competition here. And when you turn it into a competition, you shoot this movement in the foot and you act like that's okay. And it's not. It's not okay. White privilege is a thing. So let's just get that out of the way. So white privilege is a thing, and white privilege means that people who are white feel as though their pain, their triumphs, their issues are more important than everybody else's. And that is not true. If you are coming into a leftist circle, if you're trying to enact revolution, you need to be okay with the fact that you are not the most important motherfucker on the goddamn podium, okay? Your story matters. Your experience matters. Your life matters. Your mental illness, it matters. The way that you think about things, they matter, but they are not more important than everybody else's. Period. They're not more important. And the minute you start acting like they should be, you have effectively kicked yourself out of this movement. It is nobody else's fault. It's nobody else's fault if black people and non-black people of color come at you sideways because you treating them like shit. It's nobody else's fault. You did this to yourself. And you all have these built-in defense mechanisms. Are you really mad about the fact that somebody didn't come to you mollycoddling you? Are you really mad about the fact that somebody didn't handhold you through your own privilege? Are you really and truly and honestly upset about the fact that you're not the lead role in this revolution? Is that what you're really mad about? Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like y'all just mad about the fact that other people exist and have similar experiences, and you have no choice but to listen. You ain't got no choice but to listen. If you're coming into leftist and revolutionary spaces, then you have no choice but to listen to people who have the exact same experiences as you. You have no choice but to recognize that your voice is not the most important. And for people who are coming from a position of privilege, I can understand how that would be a problem for y'all. I truly can. I truly can. But that is not an excuse. You need to do better. You don't get to treat people like shit because everybody ain't focusing on you. In conclusion, people of color, Black people, Indigenous people, Latinx people, Asian people have a reason for not trusting white leftists. We have a reason. It's not just us being mean. It's not just us being exclusionary. It's not just us being elitist. It's because y'all don't fucking listen, bruh. It's because y'all don't listen. It's because y'all don't listen. Y'all spend all your goddamn time invalidating us and making us feel like shit about the fact that we have to live in a system that you are helping to perpetuate via your own ignorance. Willful ignorance. We have a reason that we don't fucking trust y'all. There's a reason there. And if you are coming to a leftist revolutionary space in good faith, then you will understand that. And you will unpack that unto yourself without making it our goddamn problem. Because quite frankly, under the thumb of capitalism and white supremacy, we have a little bit more to contend with here. So this is not even an oppression Olympics type of thing. It's just to say that you don't get to conflate our understandable, reasonable, and valid distrust of y'all with your own personal white fragility. You don't get to do that. You don't, because you're going to be wrong every time. There's a power dynamic here that you are ignoring because kumbaya, let's all eat the rich. Like, how is that helpful? How is that helpful? So I'm going to need y'all, white leftists, I'm talking to y'all specifically. I'm going to need y'all to re-examine why the fuck you in these spaces. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Did you come here because it's trendy? Did you come here because you feel mild discomfort? Did you come here because you're not entirely okay with concentration camps and you would be grateful if you didn't have to see them? What the fuck are you here for? Because for me and my people, we got skin on the line. We got lives on the line. We got children. We don't want to deal with this shit. This is not a game for us. So why are you here? Re-examine that shit. Re-examine why you're here. Constantly re-examine it. And stop making your personal privilege and your personal ego and your personal fragility, stop making that shit our problem, because it's not. You want to work together? Then I'm going to need y'all to do some work too. Because we're not the ones who need to kowtow. We're not the ones who need to bow low in order to make sure that you feel welcome in this space. It's not that we don't want y'all here. Because we do. We need y'all here. Tactically. But, I mean, I'm honestly tired of spending my life worried about white people and their delicate fucking sensibilities. There is no time for that. So again, why are you here? Examine that shit. Give a concrete answer. And stand in that shit all 10 toes. Quit wasting our time with your fucking fragility and your ego, bruh. Ain't nobody got time for that. We're trying to enact a revolution. We ain't got time to coddle you. So fucking grow up.